Yeah. No, I saw a wing struck went down there. I said, oh, I got time. Health still holding together good? Super.
You don't have to spend.
I'm gonna stay.
Okay.
The heat probably makes it a little more challenging to build up some strength.
Outside in the heat is nothing like it used to be.
Yeah, yeah. Thanks for calling.
No problem. We're gonna make this work. We got IG with us tonight.
Need nothing for me. I'm totally lost, but everything.
Oh, well, I'm telling you. And then I understand why I've been messing up too, because my instructions weren't right.
Well, it looks like it's close enough to 7:30. I'd like to open the joint meeting of the Raleigh County Planning Board and the Raleigh County Board of Zoning Appeals. We have several items on our agenda this evening. The first one is open public comment. It's time for anybody that's in the public that would like to share any thoughts, suggestions, criticisms regarding planning and development in Raleigh County to inform us so we can do a better job up here.
Can you cool it down a little bit? Outside?
Yeah, well, that's Bob's department, his planner, job planning.
Environmental health here?
Yeah.
What's that out there?
Point well taken, and we'll see if we can't do something about that. Next item we have is our consent agenda this evening, which is to consider the minutes of the July 12th, 2021 meeting and to consider the report of fees for the month of July 2021. Are there any corrections or questions or changes regarding our consent agenda? I guess Diane and John, you can hear us, can't you?
Diane's
Yeah.
not.
Oh, Diane's not here. Okay, John. Okay, super.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of
I have none.
the consent agenda.
Okay, I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we approve our consent agenda as presented. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, passes 4-0. Next item we have on our agenda this evening is to take from the table our proposal to continue with the Zoom and YouTube meetings. Someone like to make that motion?
Let me continue with our YouTube and Zoom meetings.
Take it off the table.
Taking off the table.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah.
It's been moved and seconded that we remove from the table discussion regarding continuing Zoom and YouTube meeting available. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
That's a 4-0. I guess Bob or somebody's gonna see what actually is involved here. About the Zoom, do we just need to make a motion, yes or no, or are we gonna discuss it? or
Really
what?
get a discussion that felt is necessary, and when we thought that, okay, it looks like everything's going back to normal and things are going in, and suddenly just by the time we got to the discussion, everyone's masking up again. So it's recommended that we continue on with the availability of the Zoom as an opportunity for participation. That's our recommendation to the board.
John, you have any comments regarding that proposal or?
No, I'm okay with it.
Since you used it tonight, I'd hope so.
Diane would like to continue with Zoom.
Yeah, yes.
Well, I'll go ahead and make the motion that we continue with the Zoom and availability on the YouTube.
Thank you, Phil.
Second it.
It's been moved and seconded that we continue with the Zoom and YouTube options available to our meetings. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Passes 4-0. Now I'd entertain a motion that we adjourn our joint meeting of the Raleigh County Planning Board and Board of Zoning Appeals and reconvene acting as the Raleigh County Planning Board, since we have no agenda items for Board of Zoning Appeals.
I move we do so.
Okay.
Been moved and seconded that we adjourn the joint meeting of the Raleigh County Planning Board and Board of Zoning Appeals and reconvene as the Raleigh County Planning Board. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, passes 4-0. We have two items this evening on our general agenda for the Raleigh County Planning Board. Both of those items are public hearings. Our first is a public hearing at the request of David and Danielle Tegmar for a replat. And Bob's going to share some wisdom with us.
You want to see that okay? Well, good evening, everyone. David and Danny Tetmeyer have made application with Raleigh County Planning and Development requesting to replat Lot 1 of Tetmeyer Edition together with an unplatted tract of land into a single lot and amend the final development plan to reflect that proposed replat. The subject property is an approximately 37-acre tract that consists of platted Lot 1 of Tetmeyer Edition, together with approximately 25 acres of unplatted land surrounding it. In September 2014, the applicant successfully platted Lot 1 of Tetmeyer Edition and rezoned the lot and surrounding parent tract from AG Agricultural District to APUD Agribusiness Plan Unit Development in order to establish a viniculture operation with a winery and event center. Lot 1 was developed with a single-family residence. As of recently, the applicants discovered that a portion of the parent tract surrounding the subject lot, owned by LAWE LLC, that's the parent business organization that owns the winery, became available for purchase. Thus, they wish to take advantage of the situation and add to their existing lot. Staff advised that a replat would be necessary, as well as amending the final development plan to reflect the lot configuration on the proposed replat. The subject site was rezoned, as mentioned earlier, from AG Agricultural District to APUD Agribusiness Plan Unit Development in September 2014. There are no variances, conditional uses, or special uses associated with the property. With the exception of Fort Riley, situated along the west border of the site, all the property, surrounding property is zoned AG Agricultural District, shown here in gray. This is quite an organization, but here's the actual site here on this map, indicating that the location of the property in relation to all the surrounding fire stations. Raleigh County Fire District Number 1 will continue to serve this site. The nearest county fire station is the Keats Station, located at 3141 69th Avenue. The subject site is not located within 5 road miles of a fire station, a situation which has not changed since the PUD was originally approved. Consequently, this results in increased response times. What has changed, though, is the upper half of this map, which illustrates that the site is located entirely within the Land Use Planning Zone, LUPZ, as per the most recent joint land use study. Initially, that was actually in the yellow that you see here, which is noise zone 2, which is incompatible for residential development. So that looks as if that noise buffer at the time this was done has been scaled back due to the residential component of the proposal. Fort Riley, Kansas area of military impact real estate disclosure form was required to be filed with the original plat. Presently, however, this replat is subject to the notice of potential noise impacts from Fort Riley, Kansas, which is recorded in the book page in Register of Deeds that involves way more area than just this property. Military installation and recommended noise attenuation building methods, moreover, The site is currently developed with a single-family dwelling with no plans at this time of adding additional residences. This is the preliminary plat that shows platted lot 1 of Tetmeyer Addition, and in this dashed area here. And the reason why it's preliminary plat because this area around it has not been replatted or platted to be replatted. No new entrances are being proposed with this request, and staff has reviewed the plat and found it to be in compliance with the Riley County subdivision regulations, including the sanitary code. And this is the final plat of proposed lot 1, Tetmeyer Addition Unit 2. This is the amended final development plan, which remains in substantial conformance to the preliminary development plan. It was recommended, however, that the map portion of the development plan be updated to show the proposed changes to lot 1 and to also update certain portions of the original text of the document. Although the changes were included in your staff reports, I would like to briefly go over those changes with you now. Incidentally, I was looking at the final development plan and it's missing the signature certificate for the planning board inexplicably. So I will need to get this back to you for signature. So what we're looking at here as far as the list of permitted uses, again, this is not a request to change the PUD. This is just simply to change the layout of and expand the size of lot 1. That's all this is about. And this is almost a courtesy amendment to kind of reflect that. So list of permitted uses for tract A, that's where the winery is. And there are no changes. Proposed lot 1, as far as permitted uses, no changes. That's how it stays in substantial conformance as far as intensity of use. A list of permitted structures, tract A, again, no changes here. This is not what that's about. And then proposed lot 1. So this is what we have as far as proposed lot 1. And I thought it would be, I think, fair since all the accessory structure regulations were moved into section 13 since the original approval of the PUD. And so to change that, so instead of saying subordinate in size to the principal building, except those dedicated solely for housing stock animals, all that language has been updated in section 13. So there's more of a reference here rather than a specific standard. And 1 single bedroom accessory apartment, I believe that is the same. Okay, let's see. Let me see if I can get all this stuff to work. Okay. Of the list of notes, I believe 4, 8, and I think 15, there were some changes here. The reference to the document that handles things like entrance pipe and road design, things like that, is no longer Riley County standards and specifications. It's Riley County standards for road design and platted subdivisions. And the actual size and diameter of the pipe to be used is 15 inches. This is for the initial development of the property, for the entrance onto Wildcat Creek Road, which has already been taken care of. We thought we'd just update this so it's clear. Again, number 8, site and all uses therein shall be in compliance with the Riley County Sanitary Code. Lot 1, Tetmeyer Addition is currently served by rural water and sanitary lateral field. That build out lot 1 will either be served by 2 separate lateral fields or an on-site wastewater lagoon. Since lot 1 is already now built out, we know what that is. So tract A is currently served by rural water, District 1, and on-site wastewater lagoon. Okay, so finally, all stormwater drainage from the development areas of lot 1, Tetmeyer Addition Unit 2. Now that brings this particular standard into the present. So if it's updated, it is approved, this is where it should probably reference the new lot, because if the replat goes through, Tetmeyer, lot 1 Tetmeyer Addition will be eliminated, will be omitted, and it will become Tetmeyer Addition Unit 2. So that's the language that have been changed here. Again, this was pulled off of the original final development plan And so existing is not agricultural district, but is a PUD, agribusiness plan unit development. And proposed, it's not changing. So that's where they're striked out. So there's your improvements to the notes. As far as the schedule of improvements, all the scheduled improvements that were on the original PUD, the original final development plan, have been completed. And at this point in time, there are no additional improvements scheduled as far as this PUD. That's again not a thrust of the request. It's to focus on the replat, the sizing of the lot. As you can see, where the original lot line is right here. This right here is simply a tract line, a property line between these two tracts here. This line here and this line here will be eliminated. And what you see in red and white dashed line will be the new lot 1, Tetmeyer Edition, Unit 2. So staff recommends that the planning board approve the final plat of Tetmeyer Edition, Unit 2, as it has been determined to meet the minimum requirements of the Riley County zoning and subdivision regulations, and of course the sanitary code. Staff also recommends that the planning board approve the amendments to the existing final development plan reflecting the proposed replat of Lot 1, Tetmeyer Edition, as it was found to be in substantial conformance to the preliminary development plan. The substantial conformance is a requirement in amending or changing a final development plan. If and that is located, or that those requirements are listed in the zoning regulations specifically. So there's we had to review that just to make sure that it didn't have to go through the entire process, beginning with a new preliminary development plan and on through the rest of the process. So again, those changes are minimal, and especially the text changes to try to bring it up to I don't know, present day. So that's my recommendation. If you have any questions for me regarding this request, I'd like to build this for you.
Thank you, Bob. Any of the board members have any questions for Bob at this time?
The questions I had, he answered. Good job, Bob. Thank you.
John, do you have any questions for Bob at this time?
No, I do not.
Since this item is a public hearing item, is the applicant here or representative would like to make any other comments or regarding the application?
The applicant was unable to attend.
Okay. I didn't know if that was representative or not. Is there anyone in attendance that has some comments either for or against the proposal, that questions that they need answered or would like answers to?
Just quick,
Yeah.
curious to know,
Could you go up, Mike? Could you go up to the microphone, please?
it's Mike Sheffield, we're just to the east of the Tetmeyers, and just curious what all can be built on this new plan? I guess that's probably curious about.
Bob's going to share that with you.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
As you see right here, there's already a home on it. And when they eliminate this property line, of course, this one here, and bring it home to one, Riley County rules still state, and so does the final development plan. At this time, there's only one house allowed, one single family residence. So they're not, at this time, they're not planning on doing anything else with the lot. As you see it, that's it. No changes. In time, what they would like to do is eventually build a new home and then change this one bedroom place into either a place for a worker to stay, someone who's employed, or something on that one. I don't know. That will have to be an amendment to the final development plan.
So there'd have to be another public hearing if
Yes,
they want to do that.
they cannot do that until that time. So what you see right here is what you get.
That answer your question?
They could build another home on it.
No.
They could build another house on this plan.
No.
No, not without coming back and doing this all again. At this
We'd
time.
have to make another application. And then we'd have to have another public hearing and input from the public, whether it was good or bad or whatever. But there's enough acreage there that, yeah, they could. Any other comments or questions? Sir, would you like to make a question?
David Adams, I live at 1725 Wildcat Creek Road. So I'm the one that everybody pulls in to go to the winery. And so if there's anything you can do about that, I'd really appreciate it. It's about 150 feet beyond our driveway is their driveway. So I've had buses up there, had trails of cars, stuff like that, but I've got little signs down there trying to get directed, but they're always gonna look at their old phone. But the question I have for you, it's good, it's zone agricultural, but what in that scope of agriculture does that mean as far as animals and stuff like that?
Bob, would you come and clarify that?
Okay, so on the final development plan, there is a specific layout of the types of agricultural uses that they were proposing, and what's on there now, what they can't do. But be honest with you, statutorily, if someone wanted to do agricultural, regardless of the zoning, they're exempt. So if they decided they wanted to have cows, run some cattle on the 37 acres or even on a tract, they can. It's as simple as that. So it's whatever agricultural they really want to do.
Yeah.
I think what you see there is what they want.
Mr. Adams, did that answer your question or?
Yeah, I believe so. I have no problem with what they're doing. It's just a matter of, I like to kind of have a little information before everything happens.
I think
Everything. So if I can hear me, I'd just like to have a little bit of information about what's going on as far as before it happens, because you don't know what their whole plans are going to be eventually. So you always have that fear of a bigger
Sure.
cattle unit or a bigger hog unit or something like that. So I don't think that's what they and Daniel have planned, but and I have no problem with what they've got proposed at this point. So, but I thought if you have the information, we'll maybe share it with us.
Sure.
So,
I think what they're proposing right now is everything's just gonna stay the same. And then any other changes will have to come back here for another meeting or another hearing. So they can't just go off and do it willy-nilly without letting everybody know. Other than the ag deal, which could be any form of ag.
A question. I would just say that Dave and Daniel have been very good neighbors and very open with what they do up there, with the exception of for Dave and Carol's driveway. Which we live across the street. We just watch everybody try to turn up there. I don't know what can be done about that. You got an idea that we would love to hear.
Well, no, that's the first thing I'm thinking about. I'd be annoyed.
Well, I believe, I try to explain to them, but we're all in support of what they're doing out there. They've been very, very good, very delightful neighbors to have. And I was just curious if they were going to put another site on this 37 acres or what other event center or what their plan was. But you said they'd have to come back to some other.
Yeah. There's a planned unit development. And so any changes they'd have to come back for another meeting.
That's what we wanted. That's what we came for.
Yeah, well, thank you. No, I'm glad you came. All I can think about, I remember when we did this, is about the lights coming down that driveway, the cars coming in, not shining into your house. And I don't know, that always sticks in my mind.
We've got a bunch of evergreen trees up, so
Oh, good.
God help us with that.
Well, I know, but every time I think about that. Bob, would you have any suggestions on anything that we could do though for Mr. Adams on, let's see, didn't they make that road a county, or didn't the county take that over as maintenance? Yeah, I mean, is there any kind of signage that they could do, or, I mean, I can see where that'd be really troublesome.
Well, we can't require it at this point because that's not on the table, but we can definitely request it. We can recommend that to the Tutmeyers, and as long as it, meets the regulations, yeah.
Yeah.
And try to get some sort of directional signs going, that would be helpful.
Yes, Mr. Adams?
Fortunately, everybody looks at this little bitty 2-inch thing here, and I've got a sign that says, "This is not the winery." And this is 1725. I put a big rock down there that says 1725, and you know that they put 1745 in here originally, but they never get off this, and it's just when it says turn here, they turn here. And so even though Google has it correct, and it's correct on a hill, that's what they still look at. And so I've got 2 signs. I got one that says where the winery is, just a few feet ahead of us and stuff like that. So I don't think signage is going to do a darn bit of good.
Oh, good.
Except for me standing up there at 11 o'clock going, Uber, you need to go that way. And so
Put the sobriety checkpoint.
that might, thank you though. Thanks very much.
One thing I was gonna touch upon with Mike's question. Again, going back to this is just discussion of future, what they would like to do with this lot. And that doesn't mean it will happen. And they're talking 10 or so years out. They're starting a family. That's a 1-bedroom house. And they would like to build a different house over here. Whether or not we're going to force a lot split or not, having 2, or they're going to just incorporate this as part of their agricultural operation, which is very much, a doable thing. And so, and we can see that it's clearly an agricultural operation. If you take a look at the final development plan, which is laying on the table in there, the one will be probably placed up to the end. Can't believe they lost that, they forgot that. But there's a list on permitted uses, and you can see the viticulture and all that going through there, and there's not a whole lot of anything else as far as any other listing of any other agricultural uses. Not calling out, pasture or anything like that, but there's also the ability to, the same uses are allowed in the SF5 single family residential district, which allows for stock 1 per acre. And again, I don't think they're looking at doing that here at this location. That's not what their plan is. So what you see again, this is what you're going to get. I think that there's talk about more expansion and more vines and stuff like that. That's where they're after. They're trying to get that business rock solid. Again, the whole thing of this is they're in business together with multiple investors, and they found an opportunity recently that they could subdivide or buy this portion from the business itself. But they had to have the business up and running, get a little bit of success, pay a little bills so they could afford to do something like that. And now this is going to be their home site. And so that's all that you see is that's going to happen at this time. As far as another house going there or anything else that you may have heard of what you might want to do, is, the dreams down the road kind of thing, they would have to come back to this board. And most likely though, it will surpass that level of a small percentage of substantial compliance between the final development plan and the preliminary development plan, requiring it to start over. You got to recall that a PUD is a tailor-made zoning district. And so what they have right now is actually a one-of-a-kind, if you will, zoning district with its set of restrictions, use limitations, its permitted uses, permitted structures, and all that built in. They start changing that, it becomes a different zoning district. It's no longer tailor-made, it switches to something else. So that's what's happening with this. that helps.
There's no other comments or anything in regards to this. We'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
Close public hearing.
Second. It's been moved and seconded that we close the public hearing. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 4-0. Come back here to the board for discussion or motion. John, you have any comments or you'd like to share?
No, I don't have much. I understand what they're wanting to do, so I don't really have a problem with anything, so.
And here, it looks like mostly administrative changes to things, and so.
They got more comfortable with, knowing that if they build another house, they gotta come back,
Yeah.
get approval.
No,
Motion,
So I'll go ahead and move to approve the final plat of the Tickmeyer Addition Unit 2, as it has been determined to meet the minimum requirements of the Valley County zoning and subdivision regulations and sanitary code, and approve the amendments to the existing final development plan reflecting the proposed replat of Lot 1, Tickmeyer Addition.
I'll second that.
been moved and seconded. Everyone understand the motion? So be, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 4-0.
Okay.
Thank you.
The Board of County Commissioners will hear this request August 19th at 9:50 a.m. in these chambers. We want to come back for round 2. That's what it is.
Our second agenda item this evening is another public hearing at the request of the Rose and Almeida families, petitioners and owners to replat lot 13 through 14 and 78 through 80 of Blue River Hills number 1. Bob, you're up.
Okay. Good evening. Mark Rose has made application with Riley County Planning and Development requesting to replat lots 13 through 14 and 78 through 80 of Blue River Hills number 1 into 2 lots. Mr. Rose is the owner of lots 78 through 80 situated north of Charm Drive, and Mr. Almeida is the owner of lots 13 and 14 situated south of Charm Drive. The subject property is generally located approximately 300 feet east of Blue Ridge Road on the north and south sides of Charm Drive. Both ownership parcels are located in Blue River Hills Unit number 1 subdivision. The subject property was platted as lots 13 and 14 and 78 through 80 of Blue River Hills number 1 in July of 1961. Each of the property owners involved in the petition wish to eventually build a garage as accessory to their respective residences, requiring each of the property owners to combine the lots with a contiguous undeveloped lot. It's proposed that lots 78 through 80 be combined into a single lot and lots 13 through 14 be combined into a single lot, creating a 2-lot subdivision development. There is no requirement to rezone the property as part of this request. Speaking of zoning, the subject property is currently zoned SF1 single family residential and has been zoned residential since at least 1974 as a result of the 1974 zoning conversion process, petition number 19. There are no conditional uses, special uses, or variances associated with the subject property. Riley County Fire District Number 1 will continue to serve the site. The nearest county fire station is the Blue River Hills Fire Station located at 6100 Bob White Lane. The subject site is located within 5 road miles of the fire station. This is the final plat illustrating the orientation and location of the lot's boundaries and the location of the existing homes. The utility easement, which is grayed out on the plat, as you can see in the middle here, is proposed to be vacated with this plat. The utility companies have made their, made it clear that the infrastructure, they have no infrastructure located in the area and have been contacted. They have all signed off on the proposed easement vacation. A few pictures of the site here. Looking west at the lots north of Charm Drive, this is the existing entrance to existing lot 19 and the and the home that occupies it. I guess, that's not right.
No, it's like the 78.
78, yeah. Got that number wrong here. So, here we go. This is approximately the same position turning westerly to show the lots owned by Mr. Rose in relation to Sharma Drive. Is this correct? Okay, and another look at the lot occupied by the principal structure. This is Mr. Rose's home. Looking northwest, this is a bit further west along Charm Drive. And this is essentially the area where he would like to eventually build his accessory structure. As you can see, he has a few things that he'd like to occupy the accessory structure. This moving to the south side of Charm Drive, looking southwesterly, this is lots 13 to 14. So lot 13 developed with the single family residence. Another look at the home. And this is back a bit. This is Charm Drive here. And this is looking west. This is an accessory structure here. This is, of course, not in compliance with the requirements of the zoning regulations, as it was based on a lot that doesn't have a principal structure on it. Thus, Mr. Almeida would like to combine the lots to remedy this violation. Well, similar to Mr. Rose, Mr. Almeida cannot straddle that common property line like is permitted in Raleigh County. Through the zoning regulations because of that utility easement sitting there. Cannot build for the utility easement. Thus, vacating the easement through the replat, they'll be able to build the accessory structure or keep this one here. So with that, staff recommends that the board approve the request to replat lots 13 through 14 and 78 through 80 of Blue River Hills number 1 into 2 lots to be known as Blue River Hills Unit 5, as it has been determined to meet the minimum requirements of the Riley County zoning and subdivision regulations and sanitary code. Have any questions for me? That's all I have.
I'm confused.
Bob, I got a question, Bob.
Yeah, go with John.
Okay, John?
Yeah, I guess I'm like Tom just said there before why did both of these, why don't we have 2 applicants on this instead of, and just having one? It's very confusing. And I'd like to see each one of them have their own separate hearing on this deal instead of doing it all in one deal.
Is there a reason for that?
Well, I don't understand. You got 2 different landowners, the way I take it. And normally we've never done nothing like this before. So
We have. This is a unique, yes, because it looks as it appears that there's 2 lots across the street from each other. That is a little unique, but it's not unheard of. The regulation requires that the lot itself, a single lot, cannot straddle a road. So that's fine. I mean, there's plenty of this whole development. If you take a look at the whole development, there's roads going through there. There's lots on either side of it. Now, as far as the applicant, let me go back to that and answer that. Yes, there can be just one applicant. You don't need to have multiple applicants for one petition. But yes, there are two owners, and that was listed in the staff report. So
Well,
what-
I know it's stated in the staff report, but I guess I just don't like it.
All right. So what we have here is these 3 lots here and these 2 lots here. And we could have had multiple owners go into a replat situation where they can be on the same petition, as long as the subdivision regulations are met. And this meets the subdivision regulations.
So you say on the top side there, that's 3 lots?
There's 3 lots there.
So what numbers are they?
78, 79, and 80.
Okay, I guess
And
that's
these are
where,
13 and 14 right here.
yeah. I guess I missed the dash point there, 78 through 80, so that's the 3.
Yeah.
Okay,
And what you don't see is, on this map especially, is the dash lines showing the lot lines. And because the reason why at this time, he's getting 1 tax statement, I believe, for all 3 lots. And so it's under 1 parcel ID. It's already that way. And sometimes you get them like this, and sometimes you'll have these, there's 2 lots here, there's 2 lots here, and there's multiple lots here, and so on. It looks like, off of this map, it looks like 1 big lot, but it's not actually.
I'm always supportive of any opportunity that we can to branch those lots out. You know, when I said I was confused was, so how come they're gonna replat it into 1 as number 5? Is that what I said?
Okay, so what will happen, these are part of one subdivision named Blue River Hills Unit 1. That's the subdivision name. And so anytime you replat, and you have to kind of either completely rename it or go with another unit number, the sequential. So in this particular case, because there's been so many replats in this area, it's now up to Unit 5. That's just the name of this 2-lot subdivision. So what's going to happen is these 3 lots are going to be brought into 1, and these 2 are going to be brought into 1. So it's going to be Lot 1 and Lot 2 of Blue River Hills Unit 5, which is this subdivision right here. You see it outlined in red and white.
So unit 5 is only gonna have 2 units?
It's 2 lots, yeah.
Excuse me, yeah.
Yeah.
Unit 5 will have the 2 lots.
Yeah. Yeah, the name of it, the unit number is not indicative of the number of lots.
Any other questions, Bob? This time it's I'll open the public hearing if anybody has any other questions. Seeing none, then I'd open up the public hearing portion of the proposal here this evening. Does the applicants like to share anything that Bob hasn't touched on, or?
Spell it out perfectly, yeah.
No, that's fine. Yeah, just want to give you the opportunity. As I said, it is a public hearing. Is there anyone in the attendance this evening that have any supporting or concerns to share? Seeing none, I guess I'd make entertain a motion of closing the public hearing. So, okay, I'll second. It's been moved and seconded to close the public hearing. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Passes 4-0. Come back. Like I say, I'm always supportive of getting those things cleaned up and pull them all together. My question is, I didn't quite understand how it's 2 different owners and 3 lots and 2 lots, and then changing it to number 5. I don't understand all that. That's my only. So, John, you want to share anything else? I mean, can you live with it the way it is after?
Yeah, I understand it better now, and I looked on my map a little bit closer here, and I understand it a little bit better now. But I guess I don't remember ever seeing anything like this being done before. So I guess that's why I was just kind of curious about what was going on. So I'm good. I'm good. Like I said, like you said before, and we've always said, like doing a little housekeeping. So
Yeah.
good
Super.
housekeeping. So I'm good.
Good. Anyone like to make a motion?
I'll go ahead and move to approve the request to replat lots 13, 14, and lots 78, 79, and 80 of the Blue River Hills, number 1, into 2 lots to be known as Blue River Hills Unit 5, as it has been determined that it meets the requirements of the Riley County subdivision regulations.
I'll second that.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the request. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, passes 4-0.
Hey, so
Get that accessory building built.
So you got, it's how the construction prices are high. We would let you do this when they were cheap. Yeah. Yeah.
All right, so real quick, the Board of County Commissioners still have to review this request. And formality mostly, but they will review the request August 19th at 9 a.m. in this room. That's all I have.
Okay. Any board members have anything else they'd like to talk about this evening? Go home. I entertain a motion of adjournment. Okay.
Second.
Been moved and seconded that we adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
Sir,
Aye.
sir, excuse me, sir, I need to, I need to go one minute. Before you, we haven't voted yet.
We have voted yet.
Okay, real quick, wanted to let you know that we are closing in on, or finally getting to the point of the end, if you will, of the land development regulations. The rewrite. And we like, because it's been quite a while since the last time we were expecting to wrap this up in March, and it didn't happen. And so there have been some added additions to it, the illustrations, things like that. Maybe a few minor text changes and things like that, some corrections. And we'd like to bring that back to this board as a work session, just to kind of go over it, refamiliarize the board with what we have to present. And hopefully, if everything goes well, between this board and the Manhattan Urban Area Planning Board, we can move on to a public hearing immediately thereafter. So next month, that's on the agenda.
I want to be gone.
You're gonna be gone? Okay. And there's no way you can zoom in, right?
No. You can see it if I watch this. Yeah, no, mate. Going to State Fair. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
So it's been moved and seconded that we adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Passes 4-0. Thank you, Dave. State Fair.